Good.
We have a super fun, exciting session today. I've got lots of emails, people saying, I can't make it. Will you send me the link? I'm interested in telehealth. So I think we're going to have a lot of people who watch this after the fact that have been very curious about how to make this work. So we launched this telehealth portal, I don't know, maybe mid-March, and it's been kind of a whirlwind for us. We've had lots of fun watching Instagram, all the posts and people getting excited about it and talking about it. That's been a really fun thing. And we have a very special guest today who I think was our first embracer of telehealth. Dr. Zoe Rafaat was the first one to, I think, just like go all in. You were in on day one using this thing. And God bless your soul, you're a power user. You use every feature we have. So inevitably, she has always really good recommendations and thoughts and ideas for our system, making it better, how to fix some things. We've made a lot of changes based on things that you've experienced and things that you've recommended. So I consider you to be a full throttle AR legitimate power user. So you're our model citizen. So we are glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I don't know what I would do without Aesthetic Record right now. We closed the office on March 17th. And I think I had started thinking about FaceTime consults and how am I going to do the booking. And I think it was like 2 days later, you know, you guys announced it, and on the 21st, we started going virtual. So it was such a fast turnaround. Kudos to you guys.
I saw you use a hashtag last night. I think it was like hashtag co-virtual or something.
Yeah.
Which was so cute. I'm going to start using that. I want to use that one. So you're giving us new Instagram things to use. But for those of you who are just joining us, either on our webinar or on YouTube, we have Dr. Zoe Rafaat with us today, who is in sunny San Diego, La Jolla, which is even nicer than San Diego, quite frankly, with us today to talk about her experiences with telehealth. And she has been crushing it with a lot of really fun and exciting things that I think culturally as a practice, when I look at her Instagram and I look at the way that her patients interact on her Instagram, it's exciting for me. I think the patient experience, the practice culture really shines through. And in this telehealth world that we're living in right now, I think that's going to come out as you see what we're going to show you today, that if your patients fall in love with you in this COVID experience, that's going to transcend long-term to hopefully some significant financial gains for the practice. And you've done such a beautiful job with it. I want to come to your parties. I want to be on your telehealth visits. I'm going to come to you just for like an assessment.
So I'll send you an invite.
Well, I have been booking on your portal nonstop, testing functions, so I'm there every day. But I'm going to let you kick us off. We've got a little bit of a slide deck today to kind of walk through and take us down the path and march through a few things that that Dr. Zoe has on her thoughts and her ideas. But I think you're going to get a lot out of this. And so if you have any questions during the presentation, you have a Q&A bar at the bottom. You have a chat function as well. So feel free to shoot us the Q&As that you have. We'll get them answered. And we'll make this pretty fun and even and flowy. So there's no pressure. But I'm going to go ahead and look at your beautiful pictures. And I did disclaimer tell her she's like a walking New York Fashion Week. Every picture is perfect. So I had to really spruce up today to share the screen. A little pressure.
You always look amazing, Tiffany.
Well, thank you. Well, I put a few things on here from your practice, your Instagram. I think you did a beautiful job, but we're going to meet you. I'm going to flip to the next slide, and I want to hear all about you and your practice and what you guys do, but take a note of these beautiful children, this perfect little family. Every picture of you, you're always smiling. You always look super happy. I think that's infectious. People love that. So I think it captures your true essence.
Yes, I do like my job.
That's good. But yeah, walk us through your life. We want to hear all about it.
Yeah, so I was commissioned as a naval officer back right before I started medical school. So I got a scholarship for medical school where I went to University of Miami. After that, I did all my training out in the civilian world, did my residency at Stanford in anesthesia, and then came to work in San Diego as a naval anesthesiologist. After my wedding in 2011, I was just totally bored and needed a project, and I decided to kind of pursue my interest in aesthetics, and that's kind of when everything started. Like you said, I've got 2 kids. My husband's an anesthesiologist as well. We met on our first day of residency. And yeah, I started my practice in 2011. It's really grown a lot over the past 5 years or so, when I started to kind of swap the balance of doing anesthesia and doing aesthetics. I did both for a long time, and then I think it's almost 3 years now that I totally let anesthesia go, and I've been aesthetic physician full-time. Full-time, part-time, I say full-time, part-time.
Full-time, part-time.
I still hang with the kids 2 days a week, so.
Well, and I put this down here, leader of the PFAM. So you call your people like the PFAM, and tell us what that means. I think, again, like culturally, that's like a club we want to belong to.
I love it. It happened by accident, but I took a picture of my niece when she was born, and I just thought she was such a perfect face. And at that time, I was trying to think of a name for my corporation. And so I came up with Perfect Face Aesthetic Medicine. Loved that the acronym with the P silent is FAM, because I'm all about family. And it's fun to just play with that acronym, and we love it because that's kind of what we're all about. So yeah.
Well, it's working for you.
Yeah.
And I think I put a lot of thought into who would get to do this particular webinar, because I think telehealth is such a sterile thing. If you think about like in regular medicine, a telemedicine visit seems kind of non-exciting. But I think the personality of whoever's on the other end of the phone or of the screen has to be exciting, or else it doesn't create this experience. And so even looking through your website, I love this idea of like your 3 promises. So for those who are on the line watching, thinking about your personal brand right now, in addition to telehealth, give us an idea of how you thought through your branding piece with your patients.
It stems from family. I mean, as an anesthesiologist, my first patients for aesthetics, I should say, were my family and my friends. You know, anybody who would sign up for free Botox, like I was all over it. So it was that way for a long time in the beginning. And so I think I just kind of always kept that kind of family vibe with people, and just really got close to people. And yeah, it's just all stemmed from there.
I love it. I'm a big fan, but I think you have a beautiful website too. I don't know, do you do your own website, or do you have a designer who does it for you?
No, I have a team, a couple people that help for sure. Yeah.
As do we all, because I'm not very good at design. So we're going to jump right into telehealth. And I think you have a unique story, because you were already doing this kind of thing prior to COVID. So this was not new, which I think made you an early adopter. So give us the rundown on how you came to this idea that this would work for you long term.
Well, let's see. I guess when I started being more active on Instagram, I think a couple of friends saw my posts about skincare, and you know, it really just started from there. I was selling skincare virtually through email consults, if you will. And then after a year or so of doing that, I really needed to make it official. And so that's when we set up the Shopify e-commerce part of the website. And so having that in place right now has been such a blessing, obviously. Fulfillment and all of that, having that in place is, you know, making everything work really seamlessly right now. But I've always connected with people all over the country just through my Instagram and through the skincare. So I think once we started to say we're doing virtual consults, video consults, people that are using my skincare are wanting to check in. What can they add to their lineup? Let me do a chemical peel, or what should I ask my doctor for when I go to get Botox? So it's really been awesome.
I put your shop on here, by the way. It's beautiful. Your website has a really nice Shopify sort of interface that you can click to. But I love this idea, and those who are again watching on the webinar, thinking about your business model post-COVID. Like, this is a true diversification. I think we think about in aesthetics a lot. You need to be in my office, in my chair, to make money for me. And what I'm hearing you say is I can make money like when I'm sleeping, basically, because I have this full commerce site going that I don't have to, very low touch for you in a sense.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
As far as like your practice revenue, this is putting you on the spot totally. What do you think your percentages of retail sales versus procedural sales?
I could do I could do retail from online versus procedural is about a quarter.
Okay, so it's a significant amount.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a good
So,
amount. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
it's a lot of work, but once you really get it set up, it just, yeah. I mean, sky's the limit, honestly.
Take the time to build the little fulfillment station so that it's easy to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I think the telehealth and the e-commerce go so well together. I didn't want to miss not talk about that because I think that's what enables so much of your online sales now is the telehealth visit. So
Yeah, and I don't
go
know if I'm
check out our site. It's beautiful.
telehealth go because people are just loving it and wanting to connect this way. A lot of people are asking me to keep it going, so maybe I will. We'll see. If you guys keep it a function, I'll keep it going.
We'll keep it going forever. I think and we'll talk about that in just a second. There's so
Yeah,
many more implications for it beyond COVID as
yeah,
a practitioner to make your life hopefully a little bit easier.
yeah.
But I think people are probably really curious how you made the transition, like the day you made it on March 17th from in office to online.
Yeah. Well, a month before COVID, I had shipped a chemical peel to one of my sisters in Minnesota, and I made a recording for her, and she, did it on her own at home with my recording. And so once COVID came around, I had another friend who messaged me and said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know, it's going to be 2 weeks, now it's 45 days later, but it's going to be 2 weeks before I could do anything. And, what can we do at home?" And so I adopted this chemical peel that I have in my office, the Perfect 10 peel, with a lot of guidance from my nurse practitioner and I, Wendy, to be safe and super effective for home use for skin rejuvenation. So it's been a major hit. I think people want to do anything right now to themselves. So tied with a virtual consult, it's been awesome.
And so you're doing Zoom parties as
We're doing
well.
peel parties once a week. So people who have received their peel shipments, they, get them out, line everything up, and we do it all together on Zoom. And it's been awesome. In this slide here, I had a couple of my college roommates in there, and it was so fun. It was awesome. And so now we're doing them every week.
And I think that people, to your point, we're all craving some normal experience in our lives right now, something that's normal. So I feel like people are clinging to these kinds of things because it feels like my real life. Like I'm used to getting a chemical pill or a procedure or something done. This is like real life in a time that's not real life basically at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I love all the friends together. So if someone wants to start doing Zoom, and I don't even know the answer to this, they need to have a Zoom account, obviously, that I'm sure costs some money.
I have really never used Zoom before this, and it really is super easy and super intuitive. Zoom account for free. You do not need to pay anything. And you can create your meetings, send links to your guests, and go from there. It's really easy.
Okay, so people take a note. You can get Zoom easy. So if you do consults and get people set up, the Zoom call is easy and free.
Yes, exactly.
Which we like, easy and free.
Easy and free. So yeah, it's no brainer.
Or do you send out any sort of fun email or piece when you send out their invites?
When I send out the invite, no, but we send them, a nice little package with their peel and things like that.
Packaging matters.
Yeah.
So tell us, in your opinion, if you think about consultations, I'm hearing a lot of feedback, people saying the consultation is free. So how would I ever benefit from that? It's just a waste of my time. I'm not going to do it. So give us your assessment.
Well, my consultations are always free. At the office, they're free too. And I probably turn, 95% of my consultations into a returning client. So for me, it's totally worth my time. And I think it really removes that hurdle of should I go with this person who I have to pay, $100 for a consult, or, it's just makes it a quicker decision. And with virtually, people are strapped as it is. So to hop on a 20-minute call, I just don't feel right about taking people's money for that. But on the other side of it, you know, they'll have a little bit of extra money to put towards a product or their peel or coming down to the office in the future when things open up. So it's really worked well for me. I could make a ton more money with paying consults, but it just doesn't feel right for me.
And I think if you have a lot of inventory sitting around, so you're used to e-commerce, you may have a faster pull through of inventory, but if you're someone who has inventory sitting at your office on the shelf that you're trying to sell,
Yeah,
to sell through that is a better return for you than to pay yourself for a virtual consult. Get rid
absolutely.
of the inventory.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then I also think about this too, as your schedule opens back up, can you get these
Mhm.
free consults done and out of the way so that on day one, everyone who walks in the front door is here to pay to get a procedure done?
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things I thought about in the beginning, because it's going to be crazy when we all go back to work, you know, and people are going to want in right away for their treatment. So get the consult out of the way now. I mean, even if you don't have anything to sell and you don't have skincare, you have a clientele and they're all going to want to come back for probably something new. You know, they're going to want to try that injectable that they've never done, or microneedling or PRP. So talk to them about it now, and less time for them in the office when things open up.
I totally agree. And I put your little fun Instagram post. You've made lots of Instagram posts. I have, in the later part, we'll talk about your social media, but I think you've made it exciting on social to feel engaging and like I want to book with you because it seems very low pressure,
Yeah.
easy to do. To your point, it's free, which is nice. But I
Yeah.
love the fact that when we talked about this, you're like, but you have to sell something. Like think about moving something as you're on the
Yeah,
call.
get creative. Yeah, definitely get creative. You can figure something out. And I have to say it too. I don't work alone. I have a nurse practitioner that works here with me, and she has been just amazing as well, with all the virtual stuff, and just, you know, having us working together with this virtual clinic has been really fun and challenging at times, but mostly fun. So, you know, get your team on board with it too, because we're all looking for something to do right now. So, you know, why not?
Might as well be productive. We got a chat coming in. Let's see what it says. So we're going to talk about some marketing levers in just a minute to those of you who are asking. And we did get a note that Zoom is free for 40 minutes. So I guess it's a 40-minute block where it's free. So those of you who are doing Zoom, just an FYI. And then, so thinking about marketing and how you're getting started, like logistically speaking, how do you start this from a current clinic? So if you're an aesthetic record customer already, an AR customer, there's kind of one path. If you're not, we can start you and kind of get you on the same path. But walk us through how you did it.
Well, initially we used our existing kind of perfect face clinic on AR, and just it got a little bit confusing. So we did what you guys recommend, Tiffany, which is create a new clinic, and that's your virtual clinic. And once we did that, things were really seamless, and I really like that a lot better. In order to do that, you have to turn off your brick and mortar clinic for booking, which in the beginning I was really nervous about because I wanted people to be able to keep booking. But as more and more days passed, and you know, the unknown of when we can reopen, it became clear that that was actually a better thing and is going to create way less work for us in the long run, with having to cancel appointments and reschedule and things like that. So AR makes it so easy. It's amazing. I did you guys this little webinar right when you put it out there, and we set it up, and it really has been seamless. We have been releasing our availability week by week, mostly out of, you know, kind of necessity in the beginning, not knowing when we're going to reopen. But now it's like it creates a little bit of like a buzz to get on our calendar, because we have about 20 hours a week that we're available for virtual appointments. So, you know, we can't fit everybody in. And so it does kind of create a build for the next week.
I love the scarcity mentality. So we have a question about your marketing. So as you're opening your clinic hours up each week, are you doing a combination of email, Instagram, I saw you have a few ads running, I think, on Facebook or Instagram right now. What is your sort of marketing stack that you're using right now?
Yeah, I mean, I do maybe bi-monthly newsletters to my mailing list, different subjects, blogs, things like that. We do have some social ads running right now. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of emails coming in from the website. So, that's why I have to keep my virtual clinic hours, to a minimum, sort of, because there's a lot of other stuff to do. But yeah, it's been working well.
Do you find that you're getting patients from other clinics who maybe aren't doing this right now that are trying to find a place to feel connected and they're moving to you?
Yeah, I mean, from outside of California, I can think of a few. My esthetician told me about you doing peel parties or, whatever. So yeah, I mean, the word spreads so easily, obviously, on social media. And it's great. Yeah.
Well, keep on coming.
Yeah.
We like it. Well, you've been a person you were here. So those of you who maybe don't know, we launched one version of our telehealth portal the first week or two. That was a bit more complex, had an amazing amount of features, but they were hard to navigate for the patient getting in. So you helped us with some of those things to change it and simplify the procedure. And I know that you and I've talked quite a bit about some new things coming, but from the practitioner standpoint, walk us through what the patient's getting, what you're getting, and how you guys connect virtually.
Yeah. So the patient books, and it's really easy because there's only pretty much one option to book in the virtual clinic. There's one appointment type. They then receive an email and a text confirmation with the little booking link that goes live on the day of their appointment. And then they can join from any type of device, but I have put in my notification or confirmation emails that it's preferable on a laptop or an iPad, but they can use their phones. And then we connect right inside of AR. So it's really easy and great for, going next to their chart and putting photos or taking notes, whatever. So it's really such a seamless process. If only you guys were connected to Shopify, my world would be perfect.
You just wait a little bit longer and your wish might be my command.
Oh my gosh, now I'm excited.
Tuck that one away because we're working on that one for you, I promise. But if you're an AR user who's on the line right now, so as you guys know, you have the patient portal. So if you don't have that turned on, turn it on. Yeah. We now have virtual consents that come to the patient directly. So if you wanted to do a HIPAA consent or photo consent or release, that can come directly to them as they book their appointment, and also all the questionnaires. So you'll see, I'll show you a little bit about the portal and the charting piece, but all that stuff now connects to the patient's chart so that there's no need to come in and sign consents. We'll keep that going once we come back as part of our COVID-19 workflow redo for you, so that you can keep them from touching your iPad in the clinic if you want. But I think that makes it a little bit easier for you because you're doing pictures and things to store on the records as well, obviously, virtually.
And everything, yeah, just like as if they were in my office. So yeah.
And if you can, you get a big screen, so you can certainly take their pictures and do their 45s and their 90s and their frontal. So you can do cosmetic timeline like you've always done, or the health timeline has a few more new features we'll talk about in just a second. And you see a little link. So we have little links on here they can click on, and then the provider has another version too. I think I have a video of that too. I can show you guys. It's like, I don't know, a few seconds here. I will play that for you. This is what, if you were the doctor or the nurse coming in, or esthetician, this is how you would see it. So I will walk you through so you guys know this is your little, this is your little appointment card or your calendar that is going to be brand new next week, everyone. Ooh. Get excited. So when you're at the calendar, you click on the patient's name. And it's a little hard to see right now on our Zoom call, but there's a join meeting little green button at the top. So it comes to the provider, whoever the provider is. Once they click to join the meeting, they'll go directly into the portal, which you'll see here. I'm Margot Parker. That's my pseudonym. I'm going to write a book under that name. So I'll show up here. And sorry, it's trying to load a video through Zoom, which is a little slow. So I come in here, and then my patient's Victoria. So she on her end is clicking her email link or her text link. And as she comes into the portal, she's here. So now we're chitty chatty with each other. And as this is happening, there's a full transcription going on behind the scenes so that when we hang up our call, in her chart, now all the things that we've talked about are transcribed by the minute with, you know, person one, person two, person one, person two, so that you always have that in case you need it for a future, you know, future documentation. It's all there for you. But it's pretty easy, click and go.
It's so awesome. It really is easy to use.
We look a little scary on this video, but don't mind that part of it. But I think you can see here, if Victoria, if I had the screen big, I mean, her picture is huge. So you'd be able to do all your things that you need to do there. And now, are you seeing any patients doing things like, you know, acne, wanting topicals or prescriptions and things as well?
Yeah, tons of acne consults. Everyone's skin is going crazy right now. So everyone's breaking out.
Me included. I'm like, can I put concealer on my entire face? That would be great if I could. So you're using this, you're having no issues, and you can use Safari, Chrome, Mozilla. You pick your browser.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I put a few things on here about you making it fun with social. So people probably want to know this part too. I'll walk through a bit more on the AR side, but from a social perspective, and just a culture and like people coming in, I think you told me 200 patients you've had since March 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of those have booked for a future visit or will be coming back in to get treated once you open up your doors, do you think?
That's a really good question. I mean, because we haven't been booking any appointments. So a lot of, I would say more than half of the people we're seeing now are new clients, brand new to us. A lot are out of driving distance to my office. So, but you know, again, that's when the skincare comes into play. Like they can be skincare clients. They can come to San Diego for vacation clients and pop in, you know, so everyone counts.
So someone's asking if you think you'll continue to offer these virtual clinic options as things go back to normal. Mm-hmm. And do you think in the new normal that this part is part of the patient's journey coming into the practice, like on day one?
I think I really like this virtual thing, and I think it adds a little bit of a deeper connection with my remote skincare clients. So I can definitely see both Wendy and I really have a passion for skincare and for our line. And so I can definitely see us incorporating this even when the office is back open. In terms of keeping the virtual things in place for in-office clients, I think you guys have a really good plan for post-COVID workflow, and I can see how it will be beneficial for that, you know, which I think post-COVID is going to last, you know, for a while. So having people, all new clients maybe doing their consults virtually and then just treatments in the office. I love that idea. I think Botox Josh mentioned that yesterday. I think that's a really good idea, just to minimize people in the office. I think it's a great idea, and it works so well, so it's easy.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he talked about that yesterday. He and I talked quite a bit on workflows and COVID and some things a few days prior to our webinar yesterday, and he was pretty insistent that, you know, they've got a lot of people in their office who are practitioners. I think there's like 5 of them, and the waiting room becomes a little bit clustered and chaotic, and you know, humans are everywhere in their practice. So obviously there's really the 2 of you, but I think still to the new patient perspective, it's a little bit cleaner if for just a consult than having to have them come in.
Yeah, you guys brought up a lot of good points yesterday in his webinar. So if you guys haven't seen that one from yesterday, it got me thinking post-COVID for sure.
Put your earmuffs on if you want PG-13, because it may go over PG-13. But I actually ordered finger cots. If you guys know what finger cots are, because I'm working through, if you think about in your practices, no matter what you're using, what EMR you use, the signing of the iPad for a credit card transaction. If you're going to dispute, if someone disputes a credit card transaction, the signature, you'll always win. Like it's just basically, it's a no-brainer. So thinking through how we not only get consults signed virtually, but if they're in the office and they have to sign something, how do you protect like their little finger and have them do it? So I ordered like 1,000 finger cots yesterday from Amazon.
Okay.
They're $150 for 100.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep practicing with different versions and see what's easiest. They all work on an iPad. So those
That's
of you who are looking for some COVID, post-COVID flow, get some finger
I'm
cots.
writing it down. Like I'm doing that as soon as we hang up.
It's super fun. I'm like, just get a little finger caught. So anywho, that's one option, but we're really thinking through how do you make this easy for you guys not to have any sort of cross contamination, not reduce it, but hopefully eliminate as much as we can, some things like that for you. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
And then I have, this one for me fascinated me, thinking through like your custom experiences. I thought this was super cute. So looking for a way to differentiate, walk us through this particular slide and what you did here, because I think this is a whole different way to think about your virtual consult.
Yeah. Well, I'm at home, as you can see, on the way out to go take the kids for a walk. But my hairstylist and his wife wanted to do a peel. So I hopped on a little Zoom call with them. They had everything laid out, ready to go. They had their instructions that they received with their shipment, had read through them. So it really is honestly about a 7-minute commitment on Zoom to walk someone through this peel. The rest of it they do when you hang up. And people just love it. They loved it. I loved it. We took selfies. It was fun.
Getting lots of social or Instagram love doing it. But I
Yeah.
think it's exciting. You mentioned in an email to me that patients are looking forward to this. It's like a difference in their day than the normal wear your sweatpants all day and be on a webinar. So I think that's a part of it. You're creating some buzz as you're doing this. Are you thinking of give us some other tips and tricks on fun, unique experiences that you're creating with telehealth or with Zoom that more than just like the pill parties?
Oh gosh. I mean, we're going to be doing a giveaway next week, which will be fun. I think that's always a nice little, buzz. Collaborate with someone who you love. I love and dearly miss my hairstylist, so we'll be collaborating next week. And yeah, just doing something fun like that. I got maybe some other things in my back pocket. We'll see.
Don't give them away yet, but do some. I like the idea of collaborating.
Yeah.
Especially, I've seen lots of people who are doing like workout things or overall wellness with their telehealth,
Yeah.
doing like some nutrition, kind of not consulting, but some nutritional pieces as well with skincare. So I think there's a lot of implications beyond just what we do every single day to, again, think about diversifying our whole business model right now.
Absolutely.
So I have, to bring it back to AR, because, I have a selfish need here about you talking about your experience. Just out of curiosity, thinking about this being part of your EMR already, and kind of how that works for you. And I put a few things, thinking through all the benefits of it, but give us an idea of, as an AR customer turning this on, where do you see like some synergies happening?
I mean, the transcription thing is amazing because I have a terrible memory and I'm back to back to back with people. So the fact that we have that transcription now going straight into their chart, it is like mind blowing for me. I love it. It's so amazing. The whole process is just seamless now with consents being able to be filled out and signed ahead of time in the portal. You guys have such an amazing platform. I honestly do not know how I would run my business without it. You guys have stepped up in a way that it's crazy. So I'm just so grateful for AR. So grateful.
Well, I appreciate that. Before you came to AR, were you on paper or a different system?
I was on a few different systems. Like I was using, one for pictures, one for charting, one for running credit cards. I mean, it was just the process of having one system will allow you to just really be incredibly productive, and just make your life easier. It just makes it so much easier. And that's like in the day-to-day, if you're trying to see a lot of patients, these kinds of things can slow you down. So
Yeah, I agree. I think what's been interesting for me in this whole thing we're going through right now is we've had a lot of people who are coming to us just for telehealth that are using other systems. And, I think about just that difference right there of the appointment booking is linked to the patient's chart, that's linked to their invoices, it's linked to their products that you send out. Like all that linking of everything, when you start breaking up those links in the chain, you kind of lose the full
yes,
gamut of efficiency.
absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah.
Invoices, I mean, yeah, you honestly have thought of everything, and I know you have a million more things that you want to put into play with AR. So it's really exciting that you guys, are doing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do, because we've given you all kinds of headaches, I know, for certain. We have a question right now.
A few times before the sun came up.
Yes, we have definitely had some morning coffee telehealth visits.
Yes,
We have a question on here about pictures via virtual consults, and I am going to give you a little. If you guys are using AR and you have your iPad, I showed a picture on our webinar yesterday of Victoria that I took from the screen on my iPad. So if you're using your web browser and you have your iPad, you can do your cosmetic or health timeline charting, and you can actually do pictures with this on the screen. Or you can also print screen or screenshot it and like clip it and upload it like a gallery or a regular picture. But what are you doing for your pictures right now?
Honestly, videos are great, but people are, maybe they're outside, maybe they're in a dark room. Someone was like in their closet hiding from their kids the other day, like the lighting's not always the best. So although the video is so great to connect and feel like we're sitting across from one another, it's in my opinion, not great for having a baseline skin assessment photo. So when we hang up, I just have my clients snap some selfies and then email them over.
Yep, and you can do that too. So you guys that are curious about pictures, you can take a picture that's on your, your desktop or your iPad or your iPhone and upload it to the system too.
Yeah, and we upload it. Yeah.
And I was thinking about, you had asked a question a couple weeks ago about the Fitzpatrick test that we have in the system. Yep. Are you guys using that much?
Yeah, so I created a document out of it basically, and if there's anyone that I want to, have that on file, I'll just send that over as a PDF. They send it back, and then I punch it into AR. So I kind of like having that too.
So if you guys came on the webinar on Tuesday with Eunice, she talked a lot about Fitzpatrick skin types and about different treatments and different protocols. It's a great opportunity for a lot of things she mentioned to get that skin type, have a call, figure out a treatment plan, and then book them back in for the next go live date. All right. So we have a question about, do you have to use Apple products? You do for your iPad. We only work on iOS, but you can use whatever browser. I'm a Windows girl. I can't work a Mac. So your browser can be anything, but you have to use an iPad or an iPhone to do the actual charting if you want to use the app.
Yeah.
And then you guys, I'm sure, all have iPads that you're using in the clinic.
We do. We have multiple iPads. Yeah.
Get iPads, get good ones. Our picture quality is high resolution, but you need a new iPad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The iPad Pro is amazing.
That's what I use. Yeah. Well, I have selfishly put in here a little bit of info. This is a new screen. So if you're an AR user, this is coming to you live, I think, tomorrow. A bit of a new interface. So if you're doing telehealth visits and you're curious of how to check people out and do all the charting, you'll have, if you can see the screen here, you'll have a nice new little interface with paperwork, medications, payment, and more. And so when you get the paperwork sent out, like you see this patient, they've done their questionnaire, but not their consent. And then we have a full electronic prescription portal in here now that you may be taking advantage of in your clinic that will hopefully get even more robust in the next few days. We can now take payments on the health timeline in our browser, which is nice. And then we certainly have in the view notes, your little transcription comes in there from the cloud. And then you have also your charting notes you can take as well. And we have dictation now. So you can dictate all your notes if you want to do that, and it all populates for you.
Amazing.
But if you're Southern, as I am, it has a very hard time understanding what I'm saying. So, but that's okay. Yeah. We also have dot phrases. We've increased our dot phrase interface to see more of the dot phrases. So there's a lot of things in the patient portal that for telehealth specifically we've built to try to make it easier. If you don't want to use your iPad, you could actually use your desktop and have a bit more robust stuff in there for you. And that's all coming live in the iPad version very soon too. So we kind of developed for the browser first. People are using their desktops right now more, but you'll get it all on your iPad app very, very soon.
That's awesome.
And have you sent any prescriptions yet? Have you used the e-prescribe function?
But I think that's going to be great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to using that.
Well, you got to get some acne patients in that need some prescriptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just tell us as we kind of, think through the rest of our time together, For you as a provider who cannot do your craft right now, how has this impacted you, like just psychologically, with something to do all day?
I mean, it's been huge for me. I mean, people are thanking me and saying, oh, this is, improving my mental health and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's improving my mental health. I mean, being able to come to my office and take off the sweatpants and put on some makeup, it's been huge for me. And just talking to people, because there's not a lot of connection going on right now with just staying home. So it's been the highlight of my quarantine.
We all need a highlight right now for
Yeah,
sure.
it's definitely been the highlight. We've been yeah, it's almost like kind of like business as usual, but different. But yeah, it's been great.
Well, I think there's this piece of it too. You mentioned that you're creating more content now and you're kind of doing more with content. So from a
Yeah.
marketing standpoint, how is this fueling what you're doing marketing wise?
Well, it's just new, I mean, I get sick of my own content sometimes, and I try and think of like the person who's seeing it, and scrolling through, like, is this just the same old thing, like over and over? How many times can we talk about this or that, So I don't post a ton. Like, I'm not an everyday type of a poster because I don't have that much quality things to put out there, but ideas, I should say. But when they come to me, they go out there, and I think with this quarantine, like, it's just been, there's just new things to talk about, like new ways to go about it. So it's been fun to have just something different to talk about.
And I think for the first time, and I've been in this industry, I don't know, I think 6 years, maybe less, I'm hearing about skincare all the time. So I
Yeah.
think I think providers, so estheticians, doctors, nurses, whomever, who have not been thinking about skincare as like this. Josh mentioned it yesterday. You have to have skincare. I feel like skincare has made this crazy comeback in 2020 where it is the holy grail.
Yeah.
And and you've been doing it for a while. So if someone's making that transition into like, oh, I got to do skincare now. What are
Yeah.
some things that we can help them thinking through that transition?
When I opened my own first office back in 2016, I didn't want to have one product on the shelf. I didn't want to sell skincare. And I found, what a line that I thought I could use myself and go with it. Like, every product that I would use was just better and better. So I fell in love with it first and became, a user of it. My husband and I actually, and then it just went from there. So when you find a product that you like, you can sell it. And it's been such a major part of my business. And now, like, thank God it's rolling,
Yeah. So if you're not currently in the skincare game, get in it.
Yeah,
And I
get
think
for sure. Find a line that you love for yourself, and then people will buy it from you.
and right now all the manufacturers are doing these crazy buybacks, are doing these great like, I shouldn't use the word kickback, I would be putting FDA jail, but they're doing, when you buy online, use the practices code, you get some kind of return back on that, so you can reduce your on the shelf holdings that you have. So I think if there was ever a good time to get into skincare, this may be it, because all the vendors, as we all know, are begging for business right now. So carpe diem, people on the skincare line,
Yeah, I agree.
this is the
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let's see what do we have next here. I can't remember what I'm doing here.
I think we're done.
I think we're done. We're at 2:47. I'm shocked. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. Put some Q&A in the feed here. I'll tell you, for telehealth, just as a best practice, if you are brand new to AR and you're like, I want to do telehealth, this is interesting to me, we can have you onboarded from start to finish in about 60 minutes. So not the full system, not all the pieces on the back end, but just to get telehealth up and running, to get you a virtual clinic. We'll send you a few questions. You fill those out. We'll get things set up for you. And then voila, on a quick training call, you can have a virtual clinic. So if the issue is time or money, time we can knock you out in an hour. And then money wise, on our basic plan of $12 a month, you can get telehealth per provider, per user of the system. So obviously you're on our accelerator plan with a lot more features, a lot more robust things you can do. But on the basic essentials plan, you can get telehealth with no additional cost.
Yeah.
So
And
for 1 hour and $12, you can do it.
I'm happy to answer any questions at any time for any AR users because I love aesthetic record.
And she has to ask questions all the time because
Yes, I do.
see, he who uses it most finds all the breaking points. But no, we have lots of things coming. But I think if you're also using a CRM, so we had a lot of marketing questions that came in. If you're using ActiveCampaign, Constant Contact, MailChimp, or HubSpot, you can connect those two so that you could at least have your email list. And you guys, I think, you're using one, so you're connecting your list.
We use MailChimp, and when that integration came out, we were on top of that one too. And it's been great. It's so much easier to have those two platforms talk. Yeah.
Because there's days that they're going to book with you and not be part of your CRM yet. And so it just spills over. So you can kind of keep them all going. But we can help you guys with integrations. That's like a quick toggle switch. There's some really easy things there to make life easier. And although I think many states are going to open up in the next 3 weeks, I think it's still going to be, to your point, a very slow roll. So, we got a few days to get this all done before we go back into full-on provider land.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys have for post-COVID, rollout. I'm sure you're working on that as we speak.
We're working on lots of things, but get your finger cots. If you don't have finger cots, get the finger. Free Zoom calls, finger cots. Like, that's the takeaway here. That's what you need to know. Get them. I just keep doing it. Get them and try them out. It seems really fun.
Did you get them? Do you have them? Do you have them at home?
I get them tomorrow. I'll do an unboxing like Ryan's toy review when I get my finger cots and show you how to sign the iPad.
You should.
We'll get that done for you. But yeah, to your point, like COVID screeners, we're working on some COVID screeners that we can send out to patients, and the same mechanism of the email that you guys send now, where it's like, do you have a fever? Do you have this? Have you been out of the country? And you could kind of book to reschedule. There's a few questionnaires too in the patient portal we can send out. They can just in the portal reschedule themselves. Obviously, we know that. And then trying to automate all the workflows that we can where the patient's not touching or having to be involved will be a big part of our post-COVID. And I mentioned yesterday, Steve Weiner in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, I think is working on some comeback criteria and some protocols to help us all. So when we get those from him, when I find that online somewhere, I'll call him and ask him. I'll get those sent out via our newsletter channels too, because it'd be really helpful as well.
That's going to be so helpful. Yeah, absolutely.
And in the meantime, keep crushing the Shopify game. Keep selling your e-commerce products.
Thank you.
And check out her Instagram. I have it here on the screen because she's always posting fun pictures of telehealth and of patients getting excited and doing parties. And her website's beautiful. Go look at that as well. And then you have our information too. So go to our site, open up a chat, send us an email, send us a DM, and we'd love to talk to you about telehealth and what all is happening in the telehealth world. So
get on telehealth. It's so fun.
Who would have ever thought we'd be talking about telehealth? But it never occurred to me, but here we are. So you guys have a great rest of your day. We will hopefully see you guys. We have a webinar tomorrow with Gretchen Freeling of GFace MD. She's doing,
that's gonna be so good.
She's a content queen. She's producing content at a rate I can't keep up with. So we'll talk all about her channels. And then we have an IG live with Ryan Heath of Aesthetic Practice Solutions, talking about the Brevo boards and some syringe holders and things that they're doing for COVID to help the practitioner in the room hopefully reduce some cross-contamination and just make things easier. So tomorrow at 4 o'clock with Ryan and at 2 o'clock with Gretchen Central Time. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.